Hello, Jen. As we've been doing each month now, I just wanted to send you a quick preview of what we're proposing for the next training called How to Win the GM Third Party Leads Challenge. This will be the layout for the May 14th session. This is for the May 15th with the go to meeting information, and Patty and Robin plan to record both and share the better of the two. Okay, there's the intro. I presume you would do that again. Then, as we've been doing, a quick overview of the day. What is Drive Growth Sample Reports, GM Third Party Leads 101, just some quick background on what to do, the problem solution approach, and then the two Drive Growth best practices, and then open it up to Q&A. And as always, background, Patty will take this. What is Drive Growth? The comparison, the two reports, and how to log on, which was a great suggestion early on to do this up front. And then click on there. And we'll try to give it a different look each month, change up the colors, maybe some different graphics just to give it a little flair. And the sample report. And then jump over to traffic conversion. Again, a little bit of a different look there. And a few snapshots of the key stuff. Obviously, the sales match is critical, and the days to sale. The fact that those are the last 90 days are the ones that are being matched to the sales. And then Robin will take it from here, and Robin has a tremendous background with CRMs. She's done this in 4114, but we've taken it to the next level. But she'll again give that background, defining it, GM Third Party Lead Program, what it is, how it's generated, etc. And that 80% of customers use third-party leads to assist in a new vehicle purchase. And then sources, where they come from, and she'll be able to give some background on how that all comes to be. Again, she has pretty strong knowledge on this whole thing. We learned an awful lot from her just putting this together. And then the radius, which is an eye-opener. A lot of people have misconceptions about that, so she can straighten that out, typically what happens. And then the customer experience, what it looks like. First the search engine going through, what the customer is actually going to experience. So when they use a search engine, it could result in one of those third-party paid search ads. And then here's another example right here of what it looks like. And then what the customer does, clicking on those different ads, compare low prices, get a quick quote, etc. The customer performs search engines with what they use. Obviously, we can't use that. The retailers can't use that, but the customer certainly can put anything they want. So a quick reminder, be sure to operate within all GM marketing guidelines. And continuing on, what it's going to look like, they'll click on the ad, they'll go to the website, put their zip in, they'll get three closest dealers, and their promised ability to compare prices. From there, the MSRP has a line through it, suggesting a lower price than the list price. And there's no trim level for the Malibu in this particular case. That's because the customer didn't select it. Okay, they're encouraged to select. They're encouraged to select to get quotes from up to 3 dealers, setting up a competitive situation. But the fact is, the most recent data we got is that they're picking 2.2. So it's, I always say in the dealership, 1 against 2 is not a fair fight, but 1 against 1 is a fair fight. In fact, I'm getting ready to go over to Chevrolet at Dover this morning and do a drive growth meeting, and they're getting their butts kicked on third party. So that's certainly going to be an action item, I think, if they choose to pursue that. And they will not appear on the selection list if they're not in the third party program. And they get to would expect to receive pricing after hitting get prices button, obviously. Readiness, we emphasize the need. Are they prepared? Do they have a strategy? I think this is probably the biggest underlying problem than just inadvertently reacting to them. So we came up, how are you managing the leads? Do you have the right personnel? How are you measuring the ROI on the money they're spending? And then we're going to obviously, using the drive growth data can help filtering it down, which we'll demo. What's your 90-day process? When do they transact? Are they buying from you? Are they defecting? And we'll, again, that days to sale is such a telling sequence of data. All right, and here's the two strategies to sell more. We put it into two problem formats. Problem one, their ineffective lead response, and then problem number two, the failure to sustain it. Once they tighten up the quality of the responses, to make sure they sustain it. And we did a lot of brainstorming with the team, what everybody's experienced. And this nationally has been a challenge. I talked to all the other 4 regions, and they're gradually making progress. But this has been a tough nut to crack. So again, we'll show how to access, get into the TCA, look at the summary, what their current performance is. Once there, you click on the hamburger, then you click on sources, then you go to the filter, click select all. You know this program, I don't need to show you all of this probably, but anyway, we're showing them how to narrow it down to the GM third party so they can measure that performance. And then once we get there, it'll filter. You can see GM third party only on the top defection opportunities, traffic volume trend, sales trend, performance trend, and of course GM days to sale, GM third party only. So this particular dealer is very typical, losing across the board. They got one sale on day 4 and one on 7, and as you can see a little bit later, but not doing very well at all, especially up front. There's a breakdown and lots of late purchases. So solutions to that, consider creating model-specific templates for your core products. Use your drive growth data, S4 navigate operational to determine top 3 opportunities. Use your days to sale, identify key time frames with your highest defections, and adjust your follow-up process. That gives you intel into when the customer is buying. Obviously, send an email with a price quote using in-stock options with website links. Keep them in your digital space. Consider a good, better, best strategy that showcases the range of pricing. Include a personalized sales manager introduction early in the process. Have sales managers perform lead audits early in the follow-up process. Check for customization, including how specifically customer questions are answered. We got a few dealers. I had this going in the Southeast, and the dealers that really take that part serious. It's inspect what you expect is basically what that comes down to, and it really does make a difference. Send email test drive incentive campaigns, which is common. We probably talk about this on every one of these sessions, but it works to re-engage your third-party leads and further combat defections. Come in today, take a test drive, let us do it. We'll give you a Mother's Day gift certificate of blank at a hair salon or whatever they think is appropriate. And solution 7, ensure your response time is quick because these customers can select up to 2 other dealers. Quick response is critical. What is your standard? And there's a sample email that we put in there that's been used, that has good content, hard-hitting, and answers questions specifically. Okay, problem number 2. Now we've hopefully resolved the quality of the follow-up. Now let's talk about the sustainment of that follow-up. Okay, again, we're going to look at 2 dealers, GM third party again, and we're using hypothetical Patty Chevrolet. And as you can see, they're just losing across the board, but losing late a lot. Dealer number 2, similar situation. So we're using these 2 dealers just to emphasize that you're not alone. This is a pretty typical problem, but it can be resolved. Okay, so solution number 1, consider a progressive spiff for BDRs to motivate them to stick with the lead beyond 0 to 7 into later buying times. I've done this in a couple of the deals I was taking care of down south, like I mentioned, and it worked. But unfortunately, the guy who was overseeing it left, went to another dealer. The turnover kiss of death. But if it's sustained, it works. After a certain time frame, turn lead over to another individual who's better equipped to handle pricing discussions. Use the save a deal strategy by incorporating a manager into the process to audit the lead and offer more attractive pricing options. Develop your why buy here strategy. Review your lead response and sell the value advantages of your dealership. Educate your BDC and sales force on the value of these leads. Be sure to include your drive growth TCA data to make the point. Conduct coaching sessions with sales team to ensure they are aware of the diligence and patience required to successfully handle these leads. Isolate and prioritize these leads by zip codes for follow-up. Cross-reference these leads with the playbook data for follow-up. And now, obviously, we could look at their in-market status, etc. Periodically evaluate your overall process, communication templates, scripts, methods, and cadence that are being used based on potential 90-day window. And then re-emphasize additional savings, communicate updated quick start and monthly incentives, provide invitation back to the dealership with a VIP experience, send a quick email with a reprice offer. Then we jump into the 2 best practices. Patty will pick it up from here. And Jen, I know last time you talked about having continuity from the 2 problems. We're feeling like it feels a little redundant to us because the solutions on the 2 problems are in essence best practices. But we thought we're going to test drive this with you, see how you feel about it. There's 2 techniques here. We feel like the performance of the BDCs is so vital to this. Their activities, how they're evaluating themselves, etc. So give it a shot, see how you feel about it. So we're going to look at BDC effectiveness and go-to-market effectiveness. So just a quick intro. We always talk about the 3 swim lanes that BDCs operate out of, those inbound leads, which are imperative, working the GM manifest and dealer web manifest, and are they creating self-generated outbound campaigns? I was in Patriot Chevrolet yesterday up in Limerick with Carmen Selly and Mo. We worked with them. I think we wound up building 5 campaigns from Playbook. It was excellent because it's right on the incentives are still hot. And they were pumped, and they're going after trucks and the Blazer and several other things. So the ability to do that is critical. Kristen Toth is obviously one of the better BDC managers out there, and they're going to work the hell out of those lists, and we'll definitely get some appointments from it. So the best practice number 1 is BDC effectiveness. Conduct a sales BDC self-assessment. I created this with some of my peers when I was working with Bill Fleck in Philly. This is when they had the formal BDC assessment, where there was money tied to it. I felt like at times that was a joke. The BDCs figured out how to manipulate that and get high grades. So I said, now that that's over, let's get a real look at how you're doing and do this evaluation. This BDC staffing, the infrastructure, where they're located, processes, do they have an appointment-based focus, their measurement strategy, and then of course staff training. You'd be amazed at dealerships that don't have Excel on their desktop. They don't know how to use Excel. Very simple things. The infrastructure, they're stuck way in the back or up in the upper office in a different building and things of that nature. Really strong, should give them a self-awareness and maybe some things that can improve the BDC itself. And then number 2, the go-to-market effectiveness. Perfect timing for that right now. Are your sales and BDC teams involved in the go-to-market calls? Are they intimately familiar with each month's incentives? Are they fully aware of the related inventory available? Do you set up a specific plan each month to proactively reach out in market and in equity customers who are eligible for current incentives and also are likely buyers of incentivized vehicles? If so, have you set up a strategy to track success or lack of through your drive growth data, specifically your TCA report? Do you share this information, goals, actual performance at periodic sales meetings? And here are 2 examples of go-to-market strategies to consider. Okay, here's an example of the April 2019 Chevrolet Triple Play, and did 3 data pulls, as you can see there. Show an example of the April Buick GMC Triple Play, 3 data pulls. And we'll explain that the regional BDC team provides the triple play, suggested triple play each month for both Chevy and Buick GMC. We'll include a 1-page PDF and an accompanying video. They can use these ideas, create their own. Bottom line, we strongly encourage you to have a focused go-to-market strategy each month and track your progress using your drive growth TCA data. See the example below. And here's a dealer that did a January 2019 playbook campaign with 129 prospects identified. Dealer sold 16, 4 bought from another GM dealer, and 5 bought from a competing OEM dealer. And there's the next ones. We're going to suggest 17, 18, and Patty's going to coordinate with you on that. We're still working on the topic. We have everybody on the team sending us proposals. Those are the 3 that we like so far that we're seeing. We're going to tighten them up a bit, but we want to maintain this proactive approach we're having, getting this stuff done early. And then chat feature, as you see right there, and Patty and Robin will be on board. I'll be on vacation that week. I'll be down in Myrtle Beach celebrating my 43rd wedding anniversary. Depending where I'm going, and if my wife might kick my butt, but I might sneak on and just take a peek, but we'll see. But in great hands with Patty and Robin, obviously. So look it over, let us know, and we'll make any tweaks as always. Jen, we respect your ideas on this, and we'll make adjustments. Okay, thank you.